Welcome and happy holidays from 2K Sports. It's time for NBA action. Along with Greg Anthony, Steve Smith, and David Aldridge on our sidelines, this is Kevin Harlan, and joining us tonight, one of the most dominant players of our generation, Kevin Garnett.
Thank you for having me, man. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Boston playing for the home crowd again tonight. The Cavaliers beat them last time when these two teams met in Cleveland.
Yeah, guys, they were fortunate in that one and shot a relatively low percentage because of it.
But you have to give them credit for being aggressive. The problem is they play too much hero ball. You have to be willing to make the extra pass.
And let's go straight over to David Aldridge for a report before the tip-off. Hey, Dave.
Well, Kevin, LeBron James does not mind being a vocal leader. He said conflict was just part of the game for me.
And that's so great to hear, D.A. LeBron is a proven leader and champion, as we all know, expects to contend for a championship every year. Kevin, growing up watching the game of basketball, who were some of your earliest influences?
My early influences in the game of basketball was Magic Johnson, obviously Michael Jordan, and then Chris Webber. Chris Webber, Malik said it was kind of like the younger generation of my inspiration. Yeah. St. John's was one of the destinations. Michigan was one of my college destinations. So those guys were my natural inspirations early on when I was young.
Yeah. And it's the Cavaliers to start out. Kevin, of all the people you've faced, who is the toughest guy for you to score against? Down low, let's pick that geography. Who is the toughest to score against down there?
Listen, I know a lot of people, I've always said Rasheed Wallace, I've always said Tim Duncan. They're probably the two that brought a different level of play out of me, but shout out to Cliff Robinson, man. Cliff Robinson, I don't know if people know this, but Cliff Robinson, man. Cliff Robinson was one of the better defenders in the post. He was very strong. He was very long. He didn't go for any counters. He was very disciplined. He was well prepared because he was a veteran. The refs let him get away with a lot, touching and grabbing. He knew when to be physical in some positions. He knew to do what we call work early. He would meet you at the three-point line, and he would be fighting you, and you would post up probably like a step outside the three-point line. Like, he was really good at some of his techniques and how he was able to control the post. After Cliff left the game, I watched a lot of his tape, and I took a lot of his.
No kidding.
I had to, because it was so effective against me that I was able to use it against other post players on the defensive end.
I never knew that story.
Dennis Rodman was another guy I watched a lot. Akeem Olajuwon I watched a lot, because these guys were laterally very similar to my makeup. Akeem Olajuwon was long. He was able to laterally move with you. I was laterally able to move with guards and able to laterally slide with some of the forwards and some of the more laterally gifted power forwards. And with that, able to get my feet together, being able to block shots, challenge the rim, stuff like that. Things that, if you're going to get better at something, you got to go and reach and find the great ones that did it before you and take it, and then I was able to apply it, and I did those.
Look at Cleveland's starting group. Smith is the 2 with LeBron at the 3. Kevin Love out there with Jay Crowder. And it's Calderon in at the point guard position.
Well, that's what you love about Kevin, a star player who also gets those garbage buckets.
Brown against Smith. The dish to Horford. Here's Baines. Second chance shot, and it's good on the layup.
I love the effort there. Refuses to give up on that play.
Kevin, coming out of high school, you were relatively mature for your age, as 17 turning 18, but do you ever regret not trying college and just seeing what that experience would have been like? I mean, it's such a long time ago, but you've had some chance probably to get some perspective on both sides of that story.
You know what, Kev, I look at it like the unknown is the unknown. Obviously, I've had friends that went to college. Some of my best friends went to college, and I think I've kind of lived it through them a little bit. Listen, when you have responsibility early in life,
which you did,
which I did,
yes,
and you know, so from a mature level, things that interest me, but not that interesting as you get older, especially when you have to deal with a vigorous schedule of an NBA schedule.
Oh, yes. And there's no question that James is one of the best dunkers ever. A forceful finisher who loves showing off his athleticism.
Special thanks to Under Armour for that sweet replay we just saw. Another Unleash Chaos moment. Now here's Tatum. James covering. Tatum dishes to Brown. No good with the triple. For Cleveland, they've gone 4 of 5 from the field so far. Nice shot by Smith. Kevin, one of the biggest moments of your career, the 2000 championship with the Boston Celtics. Talk about the camaraderie among that group of players.
You know, Kev, I can tell right away that we had something special getting together right in September, right before the year started. We started working out together. We started sharing concepts and how we saw the game. Right away, I could tell that the appetite was there. 115 guys. It's very rare that you're able to get that many guys in that early. As soon as Danny, signed guys, we were in, we were lifting, we was just, around each other, understanding each other, playing a lot. We was playing a lot. Then, fortunately, we was able to go off to Rome that year. Rome was a good distraction for us because we had to lean on one another.
To bond a little bit.
Seriously, because, none of us spoke Italian. If we wanted to go somewhere, we was always 3 or 4 deep, and no one was asking and no one was telling us to be with each other. We were just naturally being with each other so much that whenever you saw us to the restaurants, 9, 10, that carried over to practice. Then we got 2 teams that are very competitive. Doc's letting us be who we want to be, and he's letting us play with passion, and our practices are over the top aggressive, and to the point where it's too competitive to where he has to come in and separates us and, take the balls and cut the lights out and get us out of here. To the point where he just lets us go. Now we start bringing concepts to him. He started trusting our IQs. Now we start putting a couple of things on defense, Thibodeau's in there. He's implementing stuff. When this flow is going like this, you don't know that you're going to win it all, but you know you're on the waves of something special. And that's how that felt.
Cleveland leading by 9. That's a pick by Love. Pass to Smith. The 3. Horford with the rebound. For Boston, they've gone 3 from the field since we've gotten underway. And KG, talk about how the greats can just impose their will.
It's almost like another level. Yeah. When you see LeBron, what he did to Detroit in that 4th quarter, that's a blackout. You don't know what you're doing. When you see Kobe go for 81, when you see Chauncey come down on a 1, these players are blacking out. These are elite players in elite moments, taking the moment. Paul Pierce is one of the best that I've ever seen grab a moment and savor it and just put it in slow-mo. And nothing speeding them up.
Special players.
Special players, but I get a front row seat of seeing that. I know. Ray Allen, the same thing. Had a great composure about himself to slow himself down and hit pressure shots. Tim Duncan, same thing.
And when you take a look at that shot chart, the amount of misses lately, really unbelievable.
You start to wonder, in my opinion, is it better to take everything to the rack now or to try at least draw some fouls?
It's a completely new group on the floor for the Cavaliers. And looking back at last season, here's a look at the 3-point and 2-point shot attempt averages for the Cavaliers.
And they were focused on spreading the floor and getting good looks from 3-point range. That was the key to their offense. They put in a lot of work on the perimeter.
Tatum's shot is off.
A high percentage look from the mid-range. Might have been surprised that he was so wide open.
Buries it from 3-point range.
And you can't help but pick their defense apart. They're completely in disarray.
Smart with the ball. Now Green defending. Shot clock at 5. Here's Tatum, and no good. The dry spell continuing for him. Wade with no one around. Another 3 for Cleveland.
Yeah, the D with very little pressure on their perimeter shooters. 3 of the last 5 baskets they've allowed have been from beyond.
They've been struggling here on offense.
Yeah, a bit of a dry spell for sure.
Ogilvy passes to Smart. Here's Rozier. There's the screen. Over Green. Boston. No good that time either.
This is a problem for him. Inconsistent from the mid-range.
And so it's the Cleveland Cavaliers feeling good about their 17-point lead heading into the break. A look at the field goal percentage numbers tells the story of what tough defense they're playing today. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And LeBron James trying to will his Cavaliers team to a title. Teammate Kevin Love says LeBron made it clear from the start what he expected.
He sat us down maybe right before the first practice and kind of spoke about what he thought everyone should bring to the table. And, we had to hold up our end of the bargain.
Now, when someone like LeBron talks about what you need to bring to the table, you better bring it.
There's no doubt about that. I think if they just keep following LeBron's advice, the sky's the limit.
Welcome back, everyone. A lopsided first quarter in the books already as we start the second quarter. And for the Cavaliers, this has been the game they wanted to have.
They've gotten that perimeter game going in that first, and for me, that was the difference.
Hot right out of the gate, generating some early confidence and building on that lead.
So on the floor for Cleveland, they've got Dwayne Wade. Kyle Korver is out there with Green. Then it's Thompson. And KG, when you were bringing those greats together like you had in Boston, the intersection of you and Doc and Paul Pierce and Ray Allen, all these guys together, everything was aligned.
But, you got to go through something to be able to appreciate something. And I like to think that with the joining of myself and Ray Allen and Paul Pierce going to Boston, that we all had to have a journey up until that point and go through something and feel something, and have something feel left out. We all was achieved when we all came together. Awards, countless all-star achievements. But then when it came to total winning and what we all do this for, we was all vacant, and that's what we all shared, and we all shared the same appetite for that, Cab. And I'm telling you, man, when we all got together, we all knew never to let each other down, and we all gave each other 100%.
What a time. Osman, guarded by Smart. Baseline jumper, connects, jumper drops. 5 points in the game.
How about the screen that frees him up, though, for the jumper?
Kevin, we know how hard the players work, the elite players work the hardest. We know the coaches work so hard, and everyone in that coaching staff, everyone wants the game called right. Is an added referee something that would help the game in any way, do you think?
More eyes on it.
We got 3 right now.
Listen, that's a lot,
that
man.
Is a lot.
And we're yelling at those 3. Listen, more eyes on the prize, if you will, so be it. It's about how the game is. You want referees to be consistent. You want referees to also let the guys play a little bit. That's just my preference. I'm not a league official, nor do I know flow and momentum. I'm just talking from a fan perspective and watching it.
Yes.
But, as a player, I find things to complain about because that's what a player does when it comes to advantage versus disadvantage. But fourth ref, I don't think it would hurt. To me, it would be about how they were calling it.
Channing Frye's checked in for Cleveland. Kevin, we see some coaches get extremely emotional on the sideline. Others take a more even-keeled approach, more calm on the sideline. Which coaching style would you prefer to play for when you were in your prime? Did you want a coach who was animated, or did you want a coach who was just kind of settled on the sideline?
You know what? I like the coach that was settled on the sideline. I like to think that great coaches are going to be able to coach you in practice, and then during the games, it's about the product and what you put out on the floor.
Yes.
Coaches that have understanding, coaches that have vision, coaches that understand the game, understand that this is a game of runs, know that it's a game of momentum, have plays for those momentums and those times, or coaches I've always gravitated to and understood.
Like Doc was kind of in between, wasn't he? A little bit of emotion, but he could also have a calm demeanor on that side.
Doc was on fire. I'm sorry. There was nothing calming about Doc.
I'm trying to cover Doc's back here.
No, shout to Doc. Doc will rip your head off if you wasn't supposed to. But you know what? You needed to play with that edge. You needed to know that if you wasn't in your spot, 1 through 15, you understood that you were supposed to be there. And it's good to play with that. But I think that you don't want to be out there playing like, this is no big deal. Every play is a big deal. And no play you absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? That severity, and you play with that importance and, knowing that you're playing for the next guy. So, that's important.
There's the screen. The pass to Smart. Here's Rozier. A 14-point game for him in the win against Brooklyn.
Also, you have to mention the rebounding, another area where he excelled.
And in the second quarter, a little under 3.5 minutes played already.
And with the break here, let's look at the stats for Dwayne Wade. He's averaging 11 points a game, 4 assists, and 4 rebounds. And, guys, he's making winning plays. It's as simple as that. Not a star player per se, but he makes his presence felt.
And the numbers, they back it up. Whether he can sustain this level of production, we don't know. But the arrow's pointing upward right now.
Passes it to Ojale. Over Wade, it's hauled in by Fry.
+8 in the rebound differential. One more reason why they're in control.
Outside, Green. Some nice passing by Cleveland here. Here's Wade. He trains the turnaround jump shot. Wade's got 5 points so far.
The mid-range jump shot has always been a staple of D-Wade's game.
Now a timeout called by Boston. They're coming off that win against the Nets.
I just thought the defense was porous. Got any shot they wanted, really, for most of the evening.
I'll give them credit. Even though they were facing very little resistance, they refused to play down to the level of their competition.
So Boston ends up going with a new group. A different look now for Cleveland. 1:58 left here in the second. Let's go now to the sideline and catch up with David Aldridge.
Kevin, Celtics coach Brad Stevens is known for getting the best out of his players. He said every NBA player has an elite strength. Some of them have 10 of them. And those guys are the very best in the league, right? But every one of them is here for a reason. And there are times where you can really soar with that skill. Kevin?
And that's why Stevens is already one of the best coaches in the league, David. You've talked about him for a long time, getting maximum results from every one of his players. Picked by Horford. Brown kicks to Horford. The shot's good. Brown making the play.
Yeah, and he can really take his game outside when he wants to. Horford's got plenty of range to go along with all that work he does on the interior.
Great to have you with us, KG, and enlightening experience. Come back and join us sometime, okay?
Thank you, man. I appreciate it anytime.
You were terrific. You were terrific. You were great.
K-Hall, you always made me look good, man, since 95, man. We've been doing this a long time, my dude.
Great to see you.
Thank you, dog.
Wow, it's such a pleasure to have Kevin Garnett with us. Steve, he looks like he hasn't changed a bit, like he could go out there now and still play.
I totally agree. He's one of those guys that stayed in phenomenal shape. And when he played, I mean, his impact on the game from the one position all the way to the 4, he was a handful.
James kicks to Calderon. Back to James. And up the court come the Celtics on the break. Irving leading the charge.
And when Irving is feeling it, he's untouchable. A prime-time scorer who can spot up as well as create for himself.
Calderon against Irving. Smith with a screen on Brown. Now here's LeBron. And so it's the Cleveland Cavaliers with a 19-point advantage heading into the next quarter. The scoring has been tremendous, and they are shooting lights out with Vic. Thank you, David. And we'll be back after halftime as the third quarter gets underway.
It's the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
We so hope you enjoyed our first half. Ernie Johnson. It was all about Cleveland as the game got going. They scorched the hardwood with an aggressive style that put them on a 12-3 run to start. And by the end of one, they found themselves up by a rousing 17 points. Then in quarter number 2, they actually increased their intensity to pull further out in front, finishing with a double-digit. And that is just about going to wrap.
Never a shortage of motion on Soldiers Field Road as we welcome you back to historic Boston. And as we begin the second half, first half wasn't even close, guys, and we'll... Celtics trail by 19, and the pick and roll, Smitty, such a key play in the NBA in your eyes. Who are the most devastating pick and roll players in the league?
I think guys with the ball in their hand is James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul, Damian Lillard. Some of the role guys are Blake, DeAndre Jordan, Draymond Green, because he can make a play with the basketball afterwards. And anytime you put best players in the pick and roll like LeBron James, Kevin Durant, they are definitely guys that makes defense really think about it.
All fueled up and ready to go. Let's reset the lineups courtesy of Gatorade for the second half of basketball. On the court right now for the Celtics, Irving and Brown pair at the 1 and the 2. Court is out there with Tatum, and it's Baines in at the center, locking down the... LeBron, no luck.
Yeah, blown opportunity after the two-man game creates a terrific look.
That's how it's drawn up. That is, everything but the finish.
And the call will be against Al Horford. That is his first foul of the game. And about a minute of action so far in the third quarter. It's a pick by Love. James kicks to Love. He dishes it to Smith. And the layup is good. Smith's got 8.
J.R. Smith is strong and athletic enough to do damage inside.
Now a timeout called by Boston. And you look back for J.R. Smith, you know, Steve, over the years, some questionable choices. His reputation took a hit, but do you feel he's turned over a new chapter in his life?
Yeah, I do. I mean, spending time with LeBron James has definitely had him matured. Everybody looked at him as a prankster, not just on the court, but off the court. He's doing a better job. I'm happy to see him maturing.
Yeah, the amount of points they've given here in the paint, that's what they got to talk about.
You know, for the most part, their perimeter D is holding up, but they might have to sacrifice some of that to close down the lane.
Here's a look at some stats for LeBron James. Unbelievable play for him over the last month. Averaging around 26 points per, 10 assists, and 8 rebounds. So much of what this team does revolves around his offense.
He stacks up points. Reason why? Because that's his mindset. He wants to carry the load and clearly is successful at it.
Here's Brown. So the whistle blows on the shot and 2 free throws for the contact right there.
And for Cleveland, repeat or no repeat, just having that first title still resonates. A city no longer defined by sports futility.
No good on the free throw. You know, Steve, many felt that it was fitting that the Cavaliers came back in the 2016 finals from a 3-1 series deficit to win it all. If you're going to finally break through, it would have to be against all odds to make something like that happen.
Yeah, so true. And the actual ring the team got after that comeback has a story to it. 3 white diamonds and 4 red garnets, showing the sequence of wins and losses. It reflects the termination and the end of a curse.
And you look at this Celtics roster, a bevy of long, athletic wing players. They seem to be taking a cue from teams like the Warriors, who have found success with defensive switching and positionless basketball.
And James throws it down.
Powerful high flyer. LeBron attacks the rim like no one else.
Horford sets a screen for Irving. There's Brown with the 3.
Just 1 for 4 since the break. They are looking for better efficiency on the offensive end.
A wide open look for Love. Offline with his 3.
And the Celtics, as you see, are stockpiling wing forwards. Brown, Tatum, Hayward. And we're seeing those guys lining up at the 2, 3, and 4. It gives Brad Stevens tremendous roster versatility. How about the passing? They are moving the ball without any thought, without any individual agendas.
It's a pick by Love. Stripped it away. And up the court come the Celtics on the break. Smart leading the charge.
And a moment to see numbers for Irving. 10th in free throw shooting, and he sits in the top 15 in points per game. An absolute powerhouse offensively.
And yeah, he's a true professional at the free throw line. It's a part of the game where he excels. You want him at the line for you in crunch time. And that one falls for Smart. And Smitty, every NBA player who plays as long as you did has a moment where they realize Father Time has caught up with them. Was there a specific moment for you, for instance, when you realized that you had to retire, or you were being asked to retire?
Hey, Kevin, great question. It happened all in one sequence.
Oh, really?
I was playing the power forward position. Imagine that. I started this league as a point guard. I go to the power forward position. I step out to hedge on Jamal Crawford. He throws it through my leg and keeps it and lays it up. I look over at Bernie Bickerstaff, and he nodded and said, "You know what, Smitty, it's time." And I said, "Golly, coach, in the game, in the middle of the game." But that moment, I realized the game was passing me by with these young guys. And me and Jamal Crawford has talked about it. It was one of those moments when I didn't even react. I knew my reaction skills were gone.
That's an amazing story. There's a good screen. The Celtics working the ball around now. 5 to shoot. A putback controls the rebound and puts it back up and in.
Just a positive force right now for these guys. And though his team has fallen a bit short, it's not because of him.
Oh, and they get in the way of the alley-oop. Not to be. Good play defensively. The teardrop falls in. Smart's got 4 this quarter.
Oh, perfect timing there to knock down the teardrop.
All right, let's catch up with our sideline reporter, David Aldridge.
Guys, Tristan Thompson has one of the longest consecutive games played streaks in NBA history. He said, "The mind's a powerful thing, and if you tell your brain everything is all right, you'd be surprised on the stuff you can achieve. We have the mental toughness to push through our limits. That's how you become great and test yourself as a player." Kevin?
Well, David, Thompson's certainly a mentally strong player. Always nice to have someone you can rely on night in and night out. Picked by Horford. Pass to Ojala. Off target with his 3. The Cavaliers leading by 16. Wade kicks to LeBron. To the paint. Here's Fry. Good work defensively by Horford.
That was against good defense. He tried to sneak it in, though. We've seen him do it plenty of times.
And he's good on the 3 ball. Ojeley's got 8 points.
I mean, defensively, you have to close out harder than that.
Wade dishes to James. And the dunk by James.
We've seen it before. LeBron gets into this kind of rhythm, and there's no slowing him down.
Horford with a screen on Korver. You're smart, and count it. He'll head to the line with a chance to make it 3.
Pretty much all of their buckets coming from inside the paint now.
And at 6'4", 220, Marcus Smart with terrific strength for a combo guard, Greg.
Yeah, I mean, he can just flat out bully most guards and even hold his own against the bigs. Beyond, though, that physical stature, it's his mentality that makes him special. He's a fire breather, just the type of player the Celtics look for.
On the free throw, no good. And Tristan Thompson in the middle, a player, Greg, who understands his role.
He just plays hard and does the little things. Defense, rebounding, energy. When he's blocking shots and protecting the rim, he is one of the best bigs in our league. The ball movement on this run has been fantastic and is a big part of why they've been able to get these good looks.
Now here's Calderon. Not a lot of room. Clock at 6. Dishes it to James. Over Tatum. LeBron James again. 14 points for him.
Well, because of the size and the lift he gets, LeBron owns the mid-range area.
You're smart. No good on the quick 3. And so it's Cleveland looking at a 13-point lead heading into the next quarter. And we'll see if they can keep up their tremendous shooting they've been dialed in so far from the field. We'll take a quick break and then... Now let's listen into the huddle of Brad Stevens.
Okay, hey, bottom line is, good things are going to happen, bad things are happening. How you respond is the biggest key. Let's go.
And Brad Stevens moments ago focusing on what they can do now rather than worrying about what's already happened.
Yeah, and this is all you can do. Put all of your energy into this moment. The past, the future, they don't matter.
Welcome back as we get ready to start the fourth quarter. Not exactly a nail-biter here, but you never know. And Cleveland looking at who they've got to start the fourth quarter. Inside, we got the tenacious Love and Thompson. Calderon is out there with Smith. And it's Crowder, and at the 3, the small forward. Now Irving. From the line, it's hauled in by Jose Calderon. Calderon's got 3 rebounds now in this one.
The edge on the glass is the difference. It's allowed them to build this lead.
And he got the whistle, so he'll have a 3-point play opportunity.
Some smart decisions from Jose. That time, getting to the little floater.
You know, Steve, it seems like players are getting more leeway to shoot, but the one thing coaches cannot stand are turnovers. That's been universal, and for the beginning of the game, talk about how you can cut those turnovers down.
I think for a lot of players, they have to come in and really start to go back to study film. That could definitely cut down turnovers. Next, I think it has to be something that really, it hurts you. I think a lot of guys turn it over and they're like, well, we're getting to the next play. You got to turn the basketball over, and that has to hurt you. Then I think also a lot of guys make the simple play. Don't go for the fences. Go for the bunts, the singles. And if a guy's open, just give it to him in stride versus trying to create a play. A lot of guys sometimes over-dribble and overthink just make the right basketball play.
And keeping your focus, I would think, too, just like in anything in regular life, keeping your focus on something has got to be just imperative.
Hey, communication, you said it right. Focus, communication, that will cut down turnovers.
About a minute and a half through the fourth quarter now. The feed to Love. The screen from Thompson. Just 4 to shoot. Calderon kicks to Love. Misses the 3. Celtics trail by 16. Feeds to Brown. They set the screen. Kicks it to Baines. The dish to Irving. Looking to get it going. And it's good on the way in.
He is so good around the rim. Kyrie with an array of finishes in there.
And the wide open shot from Crowder. That falls. Great assist by Love. And that's now 6 points for Jay Crowder. Brown the pass to Irving. Horford with the screen on Calderon. Back to Brown. Tried to come right back with the 3 of his own, but it's no good. Crowder kicks to Calderon. They get the rebound. Love. And Jose Calderon hits from deep. And the Cavaliers lead by 20.
I like what he's given them tonight. Efficient offense that's helped fuel this lead.
Picked by Horford. Irving with the ball. Outguarded by Crowder. It's stolen by Calderon. Oh, and here comes Calderon all alone. Count that one. Calderon's got 8 points here in this quarter.
I love the adjustments he's made here in the second half, getting the looks he wants now and shooting a much higher percentage.
And that replay presented by Under Armour showing us the fantastic steal that led to that fast break finish. Another Unleash Chaos moment. Time called here. The Celtics decide to talk it over.
You know, so many people were surprised at the Kyrie Irving trade. Throughout the decade, Boston's been unafraid to pull the trigger. I mean, they moved up to number 2 to draft the great Bill Russell, moving back to number 3 to draft McHale, add Parrish, assembling the big 3 for a championship, then dismantling that big 3 for all those unprotected picks. This is an organization that stops at nothing to try and win titles.
And the Cavaliers with some changes. LeBron, he's checked in for Thompson. And Dwayne Wade is subbed in for J.R. Smith. Calderon against Irving. He feeds it to Tatum. Here's the screen. 5 to shoot. Blanketed by the D. He fights to the rim for the layup.
You know, thinking about Kyrie's legacy here in Boston, this is a town that cares only about championships. That's how his contribution is going to be measured. And only time will tell if he can walk in the shoes of the greatest players to ever put on a Celtics uniform.
Here's Baines, and that's good. A nice job in the glass as they pick up 2 on the second effort.
And you have to appreciate the aggression. Nice work inside.
Wade outside. Calderon sets a screen for Wade. Cleveland moving the ball around. Irving with the steal. Over in the corner, Brown. Yes, and it's Irving picking up the assist.
And credit Kyrie, tremendous vision. Finds the open man.
Now here's LeBron. Tight defense on him. And he's fouled pretty hard on that shot, but he's got the chance to pick up the points at the line. It's going to be on Kyrie Irving.
Well, you get the sense that LeBron's passing and ball handling were innate. His shooting is something he's had to work at.
Take a break. Take a break. 2 shots.
First one falls for him. And for LeBron, at times, his three-point shot had abandoned him, Steve. Last season, getting that shot locked in was a focus.
Yeah, in the past, it's really been about LeBron James driving the basketball, playing bully ball, getting to the rim. As later in his career, as you know, the three-point shot from LeBron has gotten better and better and better. And LeBron James in 2014 took on the burden of leading a young Cavs team back to greatness. He changed the whole culture, showing them what it took to win it all.
Here's Baines. That shot off the mark. And Cleveland the other way now.
And guys, what we saw here tonight is one side having everything going for them. Huge margin of victory for the Cavaliers.
They found a great rhythm from long range.
Yeah, Kevin, every time they left a man open deep, he'd get a good shot at the basket. Didn't hesitate, and that aggression paid off.
And so all the hard work here tonight converted into a tally in the win column. It'll be number 26 on the year.
And they've taken control of the season series. This brings them to 2-0 with one game left against this squad.
So it's both teams making substitutions here. 1:04 left here in the fourth quarter. Thompson with the bucket. And Smitty, it had to take a lot of patience for LeBron going from Miami to Cleveland, getting his teammates and the organization overall to that next level.
The definition of a leader, LeBron James. He'll do it with praise or criticism, not shy about challenging others and lighting a fire under them.
Calderon, no good. 43 seconds left in the fourth quarter of this one. Pass to Yabusele. Allen outside. Now the pass to Rozier. Now here's Calderon. Defense is right there. Back to Fry. To the paint. He's looking for Calderon and finds him. 4 on the clock. Green inside the three-point line. The rebound by Yabusele. Here's Rozier. And so it's Cleveland taking care of business in this one. This one was over well before the final buzzer. The fans were waiting for something to get excited about, Greg, but they never got it.
They sure didn't. I mean, they...
All right, David, thank you. And that'll do it, folks. For David Aldridge, Greg Anthony, and Steve Smith, and the rest of our terrific 2K Sports crew,